Hey everybody, what's up? It's Body Bags with Feel Good Gaming here with the top 4 deck profile. Yousuf, you're back in top 4.
I know, it's crazy.
All right, tell us what you did. How are you feeling today?
Well, first things first, I did switch decks, and it's really kind of sad because I was the Machina guy, I guess, that was rolling with it and playing like all the top tier decks. So now I'm like playing a top tier deck. So, but this was still a lot of fun decks. So I guess we can just get started if you're ready.
Yeah, sure. What are you playing?
So I play Diva Hero Beat. Yeah, that's one of the top tier.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think it is one of the most consistent, explosive, and probably one of the safest type of decks to play in this format. It's that and Hero Frogs that are just like very.
It just feels like it has the answers.
So you can have the answers. It's very safe. You can. There's a lot to go with it, but I'll just start with the profile. Obviously, we have one Stratos.
Flip them around towards me.
Flip. So yep, standard. I'm not gonna go into this too detail-wise, just because it's really straightforward. 3 alias, very standard. You have to play 3. Have to play that. Then 1 ocean, and the only thing I'll say about this is not 2 ocean. I did experiment with 2, but I did find a lot of the time 1 is all you need, and no matter what, like you could try it 2 if you want, but it's 1 always. Like it does not need to be 2. So that's all I can say. That's the hero package.
Yeah, I think some people have different mindsets about ocean.
Yeah, it's like I tried it. I did experiment with it, and I was like, it's nice with the future fusion to dive and have another one, but a lot of times in these resource matchups, the reason it's really just need 1 is because it just you only need 1 to ever really recycle them.
Yeah, to get the recurring going.
You don't need 2. It's usually you actually want it in your deck to didn't just drop it into a grave, because that's just the best place for it because of Miracle Fusion, because it's a hero and water, so that's like the biggest value there. But yeah, moving on, we're going to the other part of the package. 3 Deep Sea Divas.
The other namesake of the deck.
Yeah, the other namesake of the deck. Straightforward. You play these together. There's nothing else to say about that. I really cannot say much unless you have something to say now. Yeah, it's just very standard.
Now the question is, 1 Gilman or 2?
2 Gilman. And this is, in my opinion, very standard. I think running 1 is actually how you brick and lose games.
Okay.
I have drawn 1 a lot of times, and I would lose the game. I would have lost the game if I had only 1.
Yeah.
I tell you right now, always 2. Do not run 1. Diva heroes without the beat part, they can run 1 because they're more, resource based. They're not gonna, need as many. But this deck is very much about presence.
Right.
So being able to play your dude synchro or play just to swing in.
The other deck can play like malicious and
you
stuff
can do
like
a lot
that.
of other stuff with that deck, but this deck needs to, because it honestly is a beater too. It's 1700. You can still use it, and I've used it. I mean, if you play both, you can make the 2100.
Yeah.
I had a game actually where I drew both in my opening hand and a diva. Now my diva was useless, but it still became useful. It still became useful because of that. So it helps out. It's still a good beat character, so that's standard. Then the other, my opinion, very standard at this point is Too Honest. Now it might look a little strange, only alias. A lot of people run Too Honest for the fact that when you have it, it's just crazy. And the other reason, not just alias actually, is when you synchro with Diva, you go for Android a lot, actually opening turn. And then you just having that Honest in hand with the Android, and you're just healing, and like against certain aggressive decks, it's just will actually win you games too. So yeah, that's standard. Then my, I guess not personal decks, but like my tech choices for monsters.
Yeah.
Granule. A lot of people run it. Some standard, some say not standard. Some like to side it in instead.
It was in another top 8 deck profile, so I think you're on the right track.
Yeah. So I think actually fairly standard actually, because having it in main, only thing about this card is there's so many cards that if you have board presence, just summoning this thing, just swinging, blah, 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 just getting a lot of tempo. That's what this does. Creates a lot of tempo, a lot of pressure. People play slower base decks, you just punish them.
Yeah.
They synchro a lot, you punish them. They have to have the answers. And not every deck runs back rows, or you run into torrentials, deep prisons. But even then, it's okay to get this deepers into a torrential,
True.
right? It's not even the end of the deal. And the most important actually thing is its attribute is Earth.
Earth, you're right.
So once it's Earth and it goes to the grave, you can then Miracle Fusion with a hero to summon Gaia, which I do use, but we'll go into that later. So yeah, that's just that. And then last one, Gores. So Gores, some people opt to not use. People will run like DD Warrior Lady, people might not run it. I'm seeing now people are starting to use this more. And I do think this card will win you games, like actually a lot of times. Now you're probably thinking when I show you all this traps and spells, you're gonna think, oh wow, that's way too many spells and traps. There's no way that works. I just want to tell you, it works. You're gonna have so many hands where you're just setting one, summoning dude, pass. If your opponent plays an explosive turn or just goes off, like you fight the Blackwing matchup, the Vayu Turbo matchup, this will just win you games.
Stops them in their tracks.
You'll stop them in their tracks and just win you game.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how important this was. If this was ever in my hand, I felt really secure.
People forget to play around it too.
It's just they think Diva Hero Beat. Oh, bunch of traps. It's a beatdown deck. Why would they run this? Now the whole thing is you do have to be smart. You can't just set whatever. A lot of your traps and spells are chainable, but really important, just make sure not to set dead cards, right? That's all you have to do. Starlight Road is, I do run it, I will, spoiler I guess, but that is like the only conflict that you need to be really like smart around. Like opening, you might have to set it with some back row because you anticipate heavy, but otherwise I wouldn't set it unless I'm like, I know this matchup's explosive and it's not a 1-for-1 type of like Vayu Turbo. They're always just doing 1-for-1 hits. So that's just like the biggest thing there. So yeah, that's the monsters. Go into spells. Let's do the searching package. 2 Ecall and 1 Rhoda. This, and also very standard. Some people say, why don't you run 3? I actually think if you run 3, you could run into monster brick hands. I'm telling you, this deck ends up drawing a lot of monsters sometimes. You're not dead drawing as much as you think for like monsters. It's only 14 monster, but it actually adds up because this makes it 17 in my opinion now.
Right.
So now you're like, oh, whoa, yeah. So if you add another, you're at 18. So that's all I was saying about this. It's fairly standard. Everyone does this, but just keep that in mind. So then, other big one, Miracle Fusion. 3 Miracle Fusion, again standard. You play Hero V, you play Diva Heroes V. You're running 3 of this. You will. A lot of times, water will come in.
Someone's the best guy in the format.
It's the best guy in the format, so it's just like not going to go into it. Very straightforward. All right, the next 3 standard cards, Gem Spark. Probably one of the best quick play in this deck because it's just it gives you so much tempo, so much aggressive play. Just to be able to play your dude and you know you have this. You're usually getting a 2-for-1 on like a trade, so it's always a +1 if they chain something to it.
Very true.
It's incredible. Like I feel so much control, so much power just going with this card. So 3, don't ever play less than that. Next one is Future Fusion, standard as well, because really you wanna get this. You get this opening, you're really setting yourself. You're playing the best card in the format again, so you're just. My opinion, you always try to drop this alias and then you chain it with some other trap cards and all that. Like some people run like Call, Euroblast, right? So like putting those in the grave is my personal. I never like putting, I put these 2 in the grave. Okay, I can bring in the camera. 2 in the grave. I don't like actually putting Diva or never Gilman, but I don't like putting Diva as my water because unless they're dead, I want to see them. I want to be drawing them. So this is just standard. You just want to do that. Drop these 2. Have a good time. So that's it. Then standard spells heavy MST. Now for like a back row deck, the only thing I will tell you is some matchups I am citing this out. It's very, very specific though. You gotta really like know what your opponent's playing if you side this out. But like in the mirror, I kept this in. Like this was just swing game. Like even at any time I drew it, I would swing the game. And that's actually what happened. That's how I beat the other Hero B player.
Right.
Because I got this. I was able to play this Brain Control, which is also the other staple card, and swing for game. Now Brain Control, yeah. broken actually. It's
True.
you're like, oh, you don't have any synchros. You only have diva, right? Like, yeah, that's true. But just getting that diva and getting this is insane. Like, there's so many reasons just to run this. Even just having one tuner in the deck is enough for me to justify running this. It's just broken. And in the mirror match or the frog hero frog match, I brain control. I'll play Miracle Fusion on their card. I can't tell you how many times I did that today. And it's just like, and then they're just like, oh, they're crying because it's actually just unfair. It really is unfair.
Yeah.
When that happens, but yeah. So that's the spells. 13. That was fair standard. I think there's no special text besides, I guess, brain control. But all right. So then we're going moving on to traps. 2 bottomless. I'm gonna go through these because these are also very standard. You always run that 2 of that. For a deck like this, you run, in my opinion, always 3 Depressions. Some people might run 2, but I think this is very important for tempo-based matchups. Like always swinging in, your opponent's gonna. I can't tell you how many people have called out and seen if I had a defensive trap or not. This is that defensive trap. You always want to be able to summon dudes, set a deep prison, and you're good. That's a great turn 1. Seeing this, you're always happy to see this. It's never sad to see this, so you want to run 3.
Yeah.
Then 2 Hero Blast. 2 is good. That's like comfy. Great with Alias. Really, really good value card. This is just like Gem Spark, really. Just playing that Gem Spark, so much value. If he blows up, destroy like a lot of the meta relevant threats that are under 1900 with the Alias here.
Very true.
And so it's just very standard. I think you definitely want to run 2. Comfy there.
And just plays back into Gemini Spark. And
yeah, exactly. So it's just they all work together. Deck works all together, really.
Yeah.
So then I'm going to go to some one-ofs. Mirror Force, standard. Torrential, my opinion, standard, because you're not actually a swarming deck, believe it or not. You can get swarmed sometimes, and you need something like this to keep people at bay. Then, let's see, Solemn, and then shoot, all standard. I would never, ever recommend taking these out. Always run these. And then 1 Starlight Road. I do believe this is important for the deck. You run a lot of aggro, you want this. Like I said before, the only thing is you need to be smart about when you play this or set this. You don't want to just set whatever because you run Gores. If you think you might need Gores instead of this to win you the game, you should either side this out, depending on the matchup, or just don't set it. That's all I want to say. Like, this is overall very standard otherwise. And the last trap is Compulse. So this is, a lot of people have started using this now, and it's like I talked about tempo plays. A tempo play, just having a dude, then they play their dude and pass. Just getting this sets them back a whole turn. Just having the pressure to just apply. It gets rid of any synchro, right? Like if they just absolute zero, you have empty board, it's like, all right, Compulse, get out. Right? Like it's so many get out of jail situations. They set a annoying like hamster Raikou that it's there. Like boom, get out of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like there's
it's just a little more. So in another top 8 deck profile, they took out one of the D prisons for that, and I think it's kind of for that reason. It's a little more flexible and can be more proactive. It's not
and I think I have an idea
opponent.
why. Because now you're probably wondering, yeah, that's the last trap. Where's Call of the Haunted? So he ran Call of the Haunted. I know because I played him. Because we played in the top 8. So he ran Call of the Haunted. It was actually like really good. I just don't like Call as much because I think it can conflict with Gore. It's a good trap, but I think there's just something about it that just makes me feel like I could dead draw it sometimes. In the grindy matchups, it's good, but in like the non-grindy matchups where I'm playing Miracle Fusion and getting what I need off, or my opponent responding by getting rid of my stuff in my grave, I'm like, okay, this Call feels a lot less impactful, and I think that is what gives me the leg up because I'm running 3 Dupers and a more impactful card. Call needs like very specific situations, like, oh, I called my diva back, summon dude synchro. Like, yeah, that's good. But remember, you do that, I'm running Gores. That call is gonna be stuck there.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, only reason I even run Future Fusion is because it's broken. You gotta run Future Fusion. But I wouldn't even run Future Fusion because I really value Gores. Yeah, I value just keeping these Gores like in these matchups very. But yeah, no. Besides that. That's why I don't run Call, because I think it can sometimes brick, and I don't I also didn't have. If I had space, I might actually try it more. But I felt that was perfect there. So that's the main deck.
Looks good.
Yeah. So I will go with, I think, side deck next, right? That
Yeah,
should be
sure,
it.
whatever you want.
Yeah. So I guess most people do this extra deck next. So I actually have an extra deck. Last time I showcased the deck, it was 4 cards in my extra deck.
Yeah.
Now it's 15. I actually had to get cards. Okay, standard starting. 3.
That's the man.
Yep. Standard. Run 3. Please do not run less than 3. You may actually come up one day. You will be surprised. You run 3 Miracle. You run Future Fusion. It may come up. Please run 3. Very standard. Then 1 Gaia. It helps. Like I run Grand Mole, so I do have a lot of situations where I'm like, oh, I could actually fusion summon with a Miracle.
Good to have the option.
Yeah, and there's another card in my side deck that's also really relevant. It's like, so I'll get to that later though. And then, speaking of other relevant cards.
Oh, there you go.
So this is 100% there, and I made space for it because I called that it would be a lot of heroes. I did feel this current meta is a lot of heroes right now. So
yeah, that was a good call.
so yeah, so it was like, okay, I probably want this, and it's for another card in my side decks. Yeah, I'm just gonna say it's Super Poly. Just like Super Poly is like one of the biggest reasons. Like if they just summon an Alias, and I can just immediately respond with if I have Alias on my field, they can't Gem Spark, they can't do anything. I'm getting a dude out just from their normal summon.
True.
And even if I discard a card, that's still like fine.
Yeah, it's also good.
Then they have
against
to now they have to deal with another beat card, and it's light.
Right.
So it works with Honest. So it's just really good plays. Like it just shuts people down sometimes.
Yeah. Also, it's the Gemini deck. It's a little more niche, but
yeah, a little bit. So the thing is, the reason I wasn't running this before in my testing, I was like, oh, there's like barely a Gemini deck. Apparently, there was one Gemini deck.
there was, yeah.
So that's funny, but that's a lot more less chance. It's definitely just for the mirror, though.
For sure.
I would just tell you that that's for the mirror. So that's that. Then 1 Chimera tech. I'm just going through the fusions first.
Sure.
Side Cyber Dragons. You want this obviously then for the machine matchup. And let's go through the really important ones first. 2 Catasters. Shoutouts to Brian who let me borrow this.
No problem, buddy. I got you.
And then I think you know which one is your sleeve. I think so. Whichever one it is,
It's the white one.
It's
yeah.
the white one. So there you go. So these he let me borrow for the tournament. I ran it, got to top 4, so I was incredibly great. So I appreciate it for that. This I think is very standard. You're probably thinking, why do you need 4? I know the other guy ran 5 actually. He probably ran the water one. Is that the one?
Yeah. He ran the sea serpent.
The sea serpent one. I think it's okay, right? But a lot of times, as long as you have this, you don't need the 5th one. And the reason I don't even need that 5th one is I don't ever see myself playing 5 synchros, 5 level 5s in one game. And if I can't realistically see myself doing that, and then I think that card is like very situational too. That level 5 one, it needs a level 3 or lower to die first, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, I think this, just as long as you have this, you'll be fine. If you want to experiment with that one, you guys will have to look that. I don't even know the name of the card. But this, I think, is your standard for Diva Hero Beat. You want to run 2 of these. Straightforward, I think. And while I do that, I'm gonna slide these over to him while in camera to show that I did it in camera. So
You got the receipts.
you got the receipts. Can't blame me for not getting them now. Okay, moving on. Bryonic. You do find yourself going for 6s actually, but not that often. I only felt like you need to get the 2 most common ones, which is Bryo and Goyo. Let's say you have a dead diva, but you still have a level 4 on your field. Something like just a synchro play, just with these is enough. Some people might run like Urquiz or whatever. You don't need any more than that, honestly. The situation is like rare actually for me though, because a lot of the times I like rather not synchro for these and I do a tempo play. It's all about board presence with this deck, how you maintain it, how you apply your pressure.
For sure.
So like synchroing for these and just running into a bottomless or something is not ideal. So they're just fine. Like if the situation comes up, you'd still want to have it. 1 Stardust. I run Starlight Road, and it's also I actually could synchro for it actually fully because of brain control.
Right.
But no, mainly for Starlight Road. I don't run many level 8s. Actually, I skipped something. It's actually Black Rose. This situation, once again, yes. You run Cyber Dragons on your sides. You summon Diva. The board looks bad. You just want to nuke. There you go. That's just why you have this. And brain control obviously is another way too, but
The break glass is in case of emergency deck.
and then honestly, here's another play. You have a Gilman on your field. You Diva, special summon Diva, Synchro 5, Synchro then 7. That's like the other little thing there. So, Standard, then Stardust. And the last one, and this I only picked, I don't know why, it's really funny. I only picked this because I didn't find my Colossal in time. So I chose between this and Colossal. I don't know what the other hero will be. I'll probably find out later, but he probably ran the Colossal, I imagine.
Yeah.
But so, though, funny enough, this did help me one game. I was able to synchro for this, right? And I was like, oh, well, I'm losing. But then I swing over some stuff, healed over, versus just Colossal, who would not have healed me over.
Yeah, that heal is very relevant.
Like, that heal is relevant, and it's just his ability to avoid. I talk about board presence. That actually is one of the things. He can negate stuff. So you're like I actually was like, I could have synchro for this, but I was like, no, I actually like this better.
That's always the choice of those two.
Yeah, it's always between those two. I was like, this actually is pretty nice. Okay, and that is the extra deck. I'm gonna move through the side deck, talk about my personal choices. 2 Cyber Dragon, standard, straightforward, great in the mirror, great versus Black Wings. You want to see this in those matchups. I like using this going second. I will, if it's a Blackwing or Hero Beat matchup, I will use it. I'll side it in anyway. But overall, I'll always side this in when I'm going second because it is like the play. Because going second in this format sucks, so you really want something that kind of helps with that.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So then 2 Noblemen. Can't tell you how much this card helped me today. I played like 2 Value Turbos. I played a lot of set. God, I hate when someone sets something and I'm like, man, I just want to get rid. I don't want to run into something here. Yeah. So this is like one of the big things. And like I said, if you run into a Raikou with your Alias, you can't Gem Spark anymore. You're in damage step. So this is like, you really need something like this to help in, or Grand Mole. That's why I also main deck Grand Mole. So I can help take care of that. My Aliases are healthy. They have to respond with something else, and just control board that way. And this one media games, literally, I just ripped it on a Raikou and then they just lost the game from there. This was pretty strong. I'm gonna just go over some stuff here. Light Imprisonings. Didn't see any fairies or Light Orange today, but I didn't want to play around the fact that they might not show up, and even though I know they're not as relevant, actually,
they made top 8 in the last 2 tournaments. So
everywhere else, the people play them less, but here they do. That is why I'm like, okay, I know I could run into a Light Sworn player or a fairy player who normally tops. He didn't come in this week, so I guess
Zach.
Zach didn't come in, so that's the only reason he's not in top 8. He would have top 8 immediately. But yeah, no, this is one of the reasons why I was like, yeah, no, this is important. Then 2 Fossil Dyna, really just for the Frog matchups. I think the Frog matchup can be rough if you don't have the right resources. And this is another shutdown, right? Mm-hmm. So you just want that shutdown. There are some other niche matchups it can help with, but I honestly just felt like this was really all I want. Because every other matchup can deal with this, in the current meta anyway. But Frogs, they can be a little bit more annoyed by this, so I like to keep that in just for that matchup. Then the really other important card, Super Poly. 2. Mirror, Hero Frogs, Diva Hero, you want this. You really, 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 really want this. If they ever played just a Water and a Hero on their side of the field, you just scoop their field. Yeah. Or if you just need to get rid of one of their threats and you just have something on your side of the field. All right, scoop. It works with Elemental Hero Gaia. Just had them having an Earth. Like, let's say they had a Fortress or something. Scoop that over too, play Gaia. So it's just really, really important. And it did help me in, like, the mirror. Well, kind of, actually. I used it. I remembered something else happened, but yeah. But yeah, I think it's really, really, really good card for this meta. Then the other really good card for this meta, 2 Pulling the Rugs.
Oh yeah.
Hero Mirror, Frog Mirror, Gadgets, Machina Gadgets, my old deck that I played. Just playing one of this will shut their whole deck down. I can tell you from experience because I got hit by one of these and I actually didn't draw another gadget for like 4 or 5 turns.
Oh, yeah.
It just shuts down. Like in the mirror, it's just like they summon Diva, you just boom, that's it. Can't tell you, we flipped rugs on each other a bunch of times. So that was that. Then the 2 Dust Tornadoes, a lot of back row matchups, Black Wings especially, but a lot of matchups that just run black. There was like 2 virus decks. Shoutouts to right. Actually, I played one of the virus decks, and I was like, I gotta side this in because if he just sets in and passes, I can get rid of it. And yeah, that's one of the big things. I'm like, yeah, there's so many matchups that it just comes up. I need Dust Tornado. That's like, I think you always run Dust Tornado in this type for this type of deck. And then last one, I was at 14. This was my 15th choice. I had a lot of choices for this 15th slot. I chose Soul Release because it just, again, like the frog still helps against frogs. It's not the best because they always keep 1 Treeborn in the grave, but against the 15th, against their, but still just getting rid of their hero frogs usually. This does not help much in frog monarchs, but it helps a lot in the hero frog matchup, getting rid of their heroes and just whatever frogs, I guess. But that's all I wanted to say. Like, I fit this. I don't want to see 2 of this. I only ever wanted to see 1 of this, and it was just all I ever wanted. Because this deck really does need like a lot of special monster presence stuff. So that was the last card. So that is the Diva Hero B deck.
Cool. Well, great job, man. Do you have anyone you want to shout out today, or?
Yeah. So shout out to Caleb. He is my boy. He came down here.
Yeah.
Talked about the deck. He helped me with some math. I was struggling at the end there, but he helped me there. And honestly, was just being really supportive and helped me. He actually let me borrow like I think like the Gaia and like 2 of these cards.
Yeah.
So some of this I borrowed from him too. Yeah, and then shout out to just my boys really just right here we down in the. So this is Xanadu at Laurel. Boys in Laurel are just amazing. So
hell yeah,
really supportive, and that is it then.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for doing this, and we'll hope to see you next time. Great job.